Lawyer and award-winning Haida singer Terri-Lynn Williams-Davidson has joined forces with classical composer Bruce Rudell to honor First Nations music, entertain and inspire us. It's a musical collaboration that bridges two cultures and offers a stepping stone to reconciliation of Canada's imperfect history with Aboriginal people. It is my pleasure to welcome Terri-Lynn Williams-Davidson from White Raven Productions to Studio 4 to tell us more, and you are indeed an Aboriginal people.
Yes, I am, from the Haida Nation.
Born in Haida Gwaii.
Yes.
Grew up there, stayed there for quite some time?
Until I went to university. So that was my whole life.
To study law.
Yes.
When did you decide to do that?
I decided when I was in grade 5, actually.
Really? Did someone mentor you, inspire you? Was there a Haida lawyer you looked up to?
No, there weren't any Haida lawyers, but I don't know where that came from. It's something I've wanted to do, and
Right.
I had abandoned that passion at some point until I traveled through the United States and spent time with the Indigenous women there who were taking arms against uranium, and decided that I did want to become a lawyer and I did want to work for my nation.
Well, as you know, Chief Bill Wilson is a lawyer, and he tells me many times that there's many lawyers in his family, which is unusual.
Well, there aren't
Still
any lawyers
today.
in my family.
There are
Very
no
few
lawyers
Haida
in your
lawyers
family.
too, so just a handful of us.
Really? So your mandate as a Haida lawyer for the Haida Nation, environmental issues, land use issues?
I've worked now in my own law firm. I work for the Haida Nation, but previously I worked in a charity, and we provided free legal advice to protect the land for Indigenous peoples. So now my focus is more on the Haida Nation, but of course I provide other legal advice, and also we're bringing an Aboriginal title lawsuit and interviewing elders and preserving their testimony, because their knowledge will of course provide the foundation for the case.
Sure. And the connection to elders in the Haida Nation, or Squamish, or Musqueam, or Osoyoos, is very strong.
They're the foundation for us. They provide us with the knowledge from the past, from the ancients, that carry us forward into the present day.
Who inspired you as a young girl? Grandmother, great-grandmother?
My great-grandmother was a singer. She died when I was about 5 years old, and she was over 109 years old, and she knew over 100 songs. I spent time with her even as a young child, and she was very inspiring. She loved to sing.
And from the time you were 13, you loved to sing. Perhaps you sang before, but you started really singing at 13. Where and how?
My mother formed a dance group, the Skidegate Haida Dancers. It was a children's group, and we wanted to have a performance for the raising of Bill Reid's totem pole in our village of Skidegate, and so I was the lead singer for that group and started at that age.
And there's not exactly a singing school.
No.
Is there in Skidegate?
No.
No. So it's just in you and part of the culture, and you have a beautiful and clear and gorgeous voice.
Thank you.
I heard it earlier.
Thank you.
As you know, as part of the New Journeys album. Is this your first album? First CD?
My first, yes.
It is?
Yes.
And so many of the songs written by someone you know well.
My husband.
A guy named Robert C. Davidson, esteemed carver and artist.
He's a man of many talents.
Can he sing?
He can sing, yes.
He can?
Yes.
Well, more talents than we knew.
He has a group, Rainbow Creek Dancers,
Right.
which I'm part of, and he's the lead singer in that group, and they'll also be performing later this week as well.
Oh, how great. How did you two meet?
Well, because he has Rainbow Creek Dancers and I had the children's dance group, that was sort of how we got together, is performing at the same potlatches and same interests.
What goes on at a potlatch?
Well, it depends on what the business is to be conducted, but generally there's some rights to be displayed and affirmed by the public there. So it could be a chief is assuming a new name, he could be becoming a chief, he could be taking on new crests or new rights, and the people are there as witnesses, and they're paid as witnesses. They receive gifts to remember the business that was conducted at the potlatch.
And your production company is called, or your law firm actually is called White Raven Law Association. Tell me about the raven and the culture, especially the white raven, because I know most ravens are black, but there must be a story.
There is, and originally Raven was white, and so as Raven was bringing about the world as we know it, he stole the sun and the moon and the stars and brought light to the world, and through all of those, that whole epic journey, ended up going through the smoke hole and becoming black. And from that, I will take from it that the raven sacrificed a bit of itself and its beauty for us so that we could have light in this world. And I see that the work that we try to do at White Raven Law is to help bring out the story and help affirm our history and our place in Canada.
How great. How did you meet Bruce Riddell, composer, another esteemed talent?
Very fortunate to be working with Bruce. I met Bruce about 20 years ago. We worked on a score for a film. I called her Lutas and sang a song for that film, which of course was the film about the making of the Lutas, the canoe that Bill Reed carved.
Right.
So Bruce was a producer for that
I remember that. So this album, it's traditional Haida. I think, I mean, not having been raised a Haida, it seems traditional to me. It's not so pop rock based. It's really, well, it's the real thing.
There are two real traditional songs on this CD that come from my village of Skidans. That's the village I come from. And then the rest of the songs are newly composed songs, but they are in the traditional Haida genre. Some of the songs only have 3 notes to them, and so the songs are reduced down to that beauty that way, and they follow the same format of how traditional songs were composed. And then, of course, we've mixed in the beautiful arrangements that Bruce composed and the musicians performed and mixed it all together. So it's traditionally based, but contemporary.
But contemporary. Tell me about Call to the Ancestors.
Call to the Ancestors is a song that I wrote about 15 years ago, and I am a student of the Haida language, but I'm not a speaker, and so I worked with my mother and she translated the English lyrics into Haida. And it's a song that asks, first of all, pays respect to the ancestors, asks for their help, and then affirms that we want to do the respectful thing. And that was how I originally composed it, and then later I realized that we can't always be looking backwards. Although there's so much strength there, we have to look forwards as well. So the song is a call to the ancestors and a call to those who are yet to be born.
Okay, so let's have a listen.
Thanks.
your great-grandmother. That was Call to the Ancestors by Terri-Lynn Williams-Davidson off the new CD, the first CD called New Journeys. And when we come back, we'll talk about the tradition of the hat. And I know you said your hat's on crooked, but no one will notice. Maybe somebody who lives in Skidegate will. We'll come back.